I am the daughter of a concubine from the prime minister's mansion. When the nation faced crisis and we fled for our lives, I share my dry rations with a beggar by the roadside, while my legitimate elder sister took our family to seek refuge with the general. Later, the beggar led an uprising and seized power, and I was crowned empress, becoming the mother of the nation. Meanwhile, my legitimate elder sister was reduced to a camp follower, enduring hundreds of men in her tent daily, living a fate worse than death. Reborn into this life, my legitimate elder sister knocked the flatbread from my hands and offered exquisite pastries to the beggar. Eat, and if it's not enough, there's more here. On the escape route, I spotted the beggar by the roadside. He was a tall man, 7 feet in height, lying there begging with a broken leg, barely clinging to life, just like in the previous life. Later, answering the people's call, he raised the banner of rebellion and became a regional warlord. Then he swept across the land, uniting the realm to become the new ruler of the nation. I endured hardships alongside the beggar, bore his child, and rightfully ascended as empress, the mother of the nation. I halted the carriage, but as soon as I took out the flatbread, my legitimate elder sister slapped it to the ground. She rushed ahead of me, handing the exquisite pastries to the beggar. Eat, if it's not enough, there's more here. The moment our eyes met, I knew my legitimate elder sister had also been reborn. In our previous life, she sought refuge with the general, gaining brief safety. But that white-robed general was a beast. He pinned her down before all his soldiers, crushing every shred of her dignity and pride beneath his hands. Afterward, she was forced into becoming a camp follower, with hundreds entering her tent daily, until she was tortured beyond recognition. If she resisted, that white-robed officer would kill one of the prime minister's mansion attendants each day. He took pleasure in it, leaving her in living hell. My legitimate elder sister lifted the pastry, just bringing it to the beggar's lips. The beggar opened his dull eyes and suddenly reached out, gripping her wrist. She winced in pain, the pastry falling to the ground. Juan spoke, his voice hoarse. "Save me, I beg you." Truly, the same script as last lifetime, only those words were once spoken to me. In my past life, I followed Juan through life and death. Yet he abandoned me, fleeing with his generals. During the escape, he even kicked my child off the carriage. If my legitimate elder sister wants such a man, I won't fight her for him. My legitimate elder sister handed me the household token, then changed into sackcloth and stayed behind to care for the beggars. In this life, she asks me to protect the entire household of the Prime Minister's mansion. My parents were long beaten to death by rebel soldiers. Now, only a few maids and elderly servants remain, lifelong retainers of the mansion. In my past life, my legitimate elder sister sought refuge with Xiaoling, so I shall choose to rely on him as well. I drove the carriage eastward. Xiaoling, oh Xiaoling, you must wait for me. After 3 days of travel, as we reached the east, the outlines of military tents came into view. I smeared my face with soot. I was never beautiful to begin with, or else Juan wouldn't have discarded me without hesitation in my past life. But to get close to him, I still needed to disguise myself. I brought the elderly and weak from the Prime Minister's mansion to seek refuge with Xiaoling. Upon entering his tent, I knelt on the ground. "General, in these chaotic times, only you are the true chosen one of destiny. This humble woman brings her family to seek shelter and begs for your acceptance. There is no man in this world who doesn't love a beautiful woman. Unfortunately, I am not one." Zhao Ling ordered someone to fetch clean water. I washed the soot from my face, revealing my wheat, yellow complexion once more. Not delicate, not pretty. Zhao Ling's interest waned significantly, and he ordered his soldiers to drag us out and execute us. And right beside his tent happened to be the field hospital. I quickly kowtowed. "General, I know how to treat illnesses and dress wounds. Please don't kill me. If you let me stay here, I will surely create greater value for you." Zhao Ling laughed, giving me a dismissive glance. "You're just a young girl, and not even remarkable in looks. If dragged out to be a camp follower, Even the soldiers would scorn your plain appearance. What use could you possibly be? I hurried to the field hospital, where a wounded soldier lay on a bed, gritting his teeth in pain. His exposed lower leg emitted a foul odor. I snatched the knife from the military doctor's hand. Hold him down. It truly intimidated those young soldiers who held him down. I looked at the rotten flesh on his leg without even a frown, swiftly heated the dagger until it glowed red, then excised the decayed tissue and scraped the bone, finally wrapping the soldier's wound with a cloth strip. Rest assured, your leg is saved. The soldier, drenched in cold sweat from the pain, said to me, "Thank you," perhaps recognizing my value, or perhaps having never seen a woman so composed. Zhao Ling relented. "What is your name?" Kneeling on the ground, I gently curved my lips. "This humble girl is Jing Wan. Thank you for taking me in, General. In truth, my name is Lian Chao, the wild grass that cannot be burned or uprooted. A beautiful name like Jing Wan belongs to my legitimate elder sister. Wearing my sister's name, I will surely walk a path different from her previous life." With the land fragmented, small bands of troops would occasionally attack, only to be swiftly subdued by Zhao Ling. Among them were also civilians who came to seek refuge with Zhao Ling. The more attractive women were kept by his side to serve, while the less comely were assigned to the army as camp followers. There's probably no one else in the entire world quite like me. I've been at the military camp for 2 months, yet it feels like over a decade. I've mastered bone, scraping wound treatment, all thanks to Ji Ruan from my past life. In that past life, Ji Ruan abandoned me, and I lived and trained alongside the camp's brothers, learning these skills. Never thought they'd become my means of survival in this lifetime. Fortune and misfortune are intertwined. How true that saying is. After bandaging the last wounded soldier, chaos erupted in the camp. The military doctor packed his gear and grabbed my arm urgently. "Girl, take your family and hide quickly. The enemy is raiding the camp. It's a large force. The Ji army from Lingnan. Be very careful." "The Ji army? Does that mean my legitimate elder sister is here?" I sheathed my dagger, strapped it to my leg, settled Xiao Tao and 2 elderly servants, then slipped out stealthily. The battle raged for a day, and the Ji army camped 3 miles outside Jialing. Dressed in gray short robes, I crept out under cover of night. Using the forest as concealment, I slowly approached Ji Ruan's troops. Though called an army, they were merely a ragtag band of rebels, prevailing only through sheer numbers to temporarily suppress Zhao Ling. I waited halfway up the mountain until the moon hid behind clouds, then crept step by step toward the central tent. Just before entering, a hand clamped over my mouth and pulled me into another tent. My legitimate elder sister wore a delicate gauze dress. Even amid war, her striking beauty remained undiminished. I ignored the bruises on her neck. Rest assured, the elderly and weak of the Prime Minister's mansion still live safely. However, I cannot guarantee their protection forever. Hearing this, my sister finally smiled. She trusted my capability. I trusted her beauty. Zhao Ling spares the capable. Ji Ruan spares the beautiful, recalling our past life. Our exchanged glance in that moment spoke volumes beyond words. So when she knocked away my flatbread then, I bore no grudge. As I left, she handed me a packet of sleeping draft, her radiant face glowing fiercer in the firelight. "Sister, in this lifetime, shall we join forces to ruin these 2 men?" Then she kicked over the candle in the tent. Seeing me exit, she screamed, "Fire! Fire! Help!" I slipped away amidst the chaos. Ji Ruan jolted awake, threw on an outer robe, and charged into the flames, emerging with my legitimate elder sister cradled in his arms. His expression was tender, a look I never received for a single moment in my past life. I watched Ji Ruan coldly, his face instantly reminding me of my child kicked from the carriage. How could such an ungrateful, fickle coward be hailed by the world as its new ruler? I refused to accept it, suppressing the storm of emotions. I turned back toward camp, though I tread carefully. The moment I stepped into the territory, bonfires blazed around the tents, and Auntie Lu knelt directly before the main tent. Her daughter lay exposed from the waist down, blood staining her thighs. Her eyes vacant. Auntie Lou wept. Her gaze tore me, tinged with resentment. She resents me for leaving camp late at night and angering the general. Otherwise, Xiao Tao wouldn't be in this state. Zhao Ling stood clad in snow, white silver armor, his icy gaze falling upon me. Where has the military doctor been? Did you go to the G Army? Intending to betray our military intelligence? The latter words carried killing intent, and immediately 2 soldiers restrained me. One of them, I had once set his broken bone, slapped me to the ground. What are you staring at, unlucky wretch? Wipe that look off your face, and answer the general properly. My palm braced against the ground, half my face burning with pain, a wave of bitterness welling up in my heart. Then I pulled out a crumpled sketch from my robe. General, I risk my life deep behind enemy lines for our army, mapping the G Army's nearby troop deployments. Is this the reward for my loyalty? The next instant, I struck a flame and held the sketch over the fire. One slight movement, and that paper would turn to ashes. Zhao Ling sneered. If you dare deceive this general with a fake map, none of your relatives will leave here alive today. Deceive? Does the general believe this humble woman possesses any means to trick you? My entire family is under your command. The slightest misstep would allow you to crush us like ants. Jing Wan dares not deceive the general, nor does she have the right to. This sketch is my only path to survival. I cannot afford to lose, and I will not lose. After a tense moment, Zhao Ling believed her. Hand over the sketch, and I shall trust your loyalty. Henceforth, I will ensure your family's safety. But now the terms have changed. Mere survival is no longer enough. To hand someone the weapon against you and surrender all your bargaining chips, that path leads only to death. Gazing at Xiao Tao's lifeless face, I set the sketch ablaze. I burn it because, during my years with Ji Ruan, I memorized every route of his campaigns. This knowledge would buy my complete freedom. Enraged, Zhao Lung shot up from his seat and seized me by the throat. You have quite the nerve, daring to bargain with this general. Yuist, general, I am terribly timid, especially afraid of death. Hearing this, he tightened his grip, and my face gradually turned purple. Just before suffocation, Zhao Ling released his hold and threw me to the ground. Speak, what are your terms? Wiping the blood from my lips, I coughed for a while before meeting Zhao Ling's gaze directly for the first time. The jade-faced general, the merciless executioner, he never treated people as human, viewing women merely as playthings for amusement. Legitimate elder sister, surviving under Zhao Ling's rule in our past life must have been incredibly difficult. With your beauty, you would likely fare better under Ji Ruan's care. The next moment, I drew his sword. Zhao Ling remained unmoved, supremely confident that even with the hilt in my hand, I lacked the ability to kill him, and I had no intention to. Holding the sword, I walked over to Annie Lu and handed it to her. In these troubled times, preserving one's life is the utmost priority. Everything else is trivial. Besides, grievances have their source and debts their master. Don't fix your eyes on me. Whoever bullied Xiao Tao, you take your sword and go seek revenge yourself. I bit down hard on the last 2 words. For the defense layout map, Zhao Ling wouldn't hesitate to kill 1 or 2 soldiers. Immediately, 3 soldiers panicked and tried to flee. But before Zhao Ling even spoke, someone dragged those 3 beasts out. Aunt Lu let out a heart-wrenching cry and raised the knife blade and swung 30 times, each strike cutting to the bone, until the 3 beasts lay in a pool of their own blood. After that day, relying on me as a living map, Zhao Ling defeated Ji Ruan multiple times, even winning against larger forces with fewer troops. Over 5 years, I gradually rose to the position of military strategist. Yet Ji Ruan seemed divinely aided, with more and more civilians flocking to his side. No matter how unwilling, Zhao Ling had no choice but to retreat 20 miles and station troops in Ru County. When winter arrived, the county slaughtered pigs in celebration, claiming they'd captured enemy soldiers. Everyone was rejoicing. As the red cloth was lifted from the prisoner's cage, the wine in my cup spilled. My legitimate elder sister had been captured. How could that be? My legitimate elder sister's beauty far surpasses Lady Chen's by several times. Given a second chance at life, Ruan would surely treasure her like a precious jewel, guarding her so carefully he'd fear she might melt in his hands. She shouldn't be here. Amidst the banquet, music suddenly swelled. My legitimate elder sister danced within a cage, her eyes carrying a trace of sorrow as she glanced listlessly at Zhao Ling, enhancing her aura of poignant beauty. Zhao Ling was utterly captivated, tossing aside his wine cup and slicing open the cage with his sword before pulling her into his embrace. As he gently pinched the soft flesh at her waist and leaned in, many officers watched curiously. She pressed a fingertip to his lips. "General, behaving like this in public will make others think you've lost your dignity. General G, however, is exceedingly gentle with me. He treats everyone this way. No wonder countless youths rally to his call and join his ranks. Zhao Ling is no match for Jirwan. Rather, it seems the tide of this realm does not favor Zhao Ling." Ruan rose with the momentum and was benevolent and gentle, at least superficially, thus winning greater popular support. In contrast, Zhao Ling was highly skilled in martial arts, ruthless in action, and never concealed his ambitions. People always sympathize with the underdog, favor those who hide daggers behind smiles, and delight in complicating what was originally simple. After legitimate elder sister had been in Zhao Ling's camp for over a month, Ruan advanced triumphantly, defeating 3 defending generals and pressing step by step toward Ru County. He encamped 20 li outside Ru County and sent a letter demanding Zhao Ling release legitimate elder sister, threatening to attack the city otherwise. His forces now outnumbered Zhao Ling's by more than 3-1. Zhao Ling stood no chance of victory. In the military camp, as one of the few women, Zhao Ling tasked me with persuading legitimate elder sister to surrender and join forces against Jirwan. He intended to use legitimate elder sister to gain leverage over Jirwan, but before I could speak, legitimate elder sister was the first to break the silence. "I'm pregnant, little sister. Guess whose child this is in my womb? Jiruan's or Zhao Ling's?" Legitimate elder sister smiled, her eyes crinkling with amusement as she gently stroked her abdomen. "No matter whose child it is, he is my son, and more importantly, our future reliance. Once Ru County falls, the realm will be unified, and Jirwan will become the one and only emperor." Yet with victory within grasp, he halted his advance for the sake of my legitimate elder sister. Had I been the one in that city in my past life, Ruan's iron cavalry would have long since crushed Ru County. A lifetime does not simply fade away. Even reborn, the past remains like a steel needle piercing my heart, flaring up from time to time, leaving me in such pain that I toss and turn, unable to sleep. I wonder if my legitimate elder sister, in the stillness of midnight, ever feels the urge to end Zhao Ling with a single stroke of the blade. The torment of our previous life clings like maggots to bone. Even with her proud nature, she has endured until now. When I was 10, my father divined that the kingdom of Zhang's fate was nearing its end. At that time, years of severe drought struck, yet instead of reducing taxes, the levy was increased by 30%. Local constables went door to door seizing grain to cover taxes, starving many commoners to death. Some families resorted to trading children to eat, and the bones and teeth of the young littered the official roads. The people of Xingdu capital wrote a petition in blood and delivered it to my father. "Prime Minister, please advise His Majesty once more. How can we commoners survive under such crushing taxes?" But my father, standing alone, was powerless to save this decaying, dying dynasty. After the final petition, the emperor flew into a rage, stripped my father of his official rank, and had him beaten 20 strokes with a rod. My mother tended to him tirelessly for 2 months, never even changing her clothes. It was then that my legitimate elder sister began managing the household. I was originally a daughter of a concubine in the Prime Minister's mansion. My birth mother died in difficult labor the year I was born, and I it was later adopted under the principal wife. The lady of the house paid me little mind, and my father was wholly absorbed in court affairs. It was my legitimate elder sister who forced me to study, and only under her insistence did I manage to read a few books and learn my letters. Later, she pushed me to learn embroidery. I pricked my fingers full of holes, but never mastered it. Frowning, she dressed my wounds herself, calling me a hopeless case. Eventually, the emperor was assassinated, and a child emperor ascended the throne. The people overthrew the former emperor's tyranny, and the realm began to fracture into fragments. Zhao Ling directly led 100,000 soldiers, entrenched in the north, and proclaimed himself king. Rebel soldiers stormed into our home, killing my father and mother. My legitimate elder sister shielded me, hiding with me and a few old servants in a secret chamber. We watched as they searched the house multiple times, only daring to come out after they had left. What followed was 3 long months of fleeing as refugees. My legitimate elder sister said that since Zhao Ling commanded a powerful army, if we could seek his protection, he would surely save the lives of our entire family, young and old. But I took a liking to a beggar by the roadside and even shared some food with him. I was foolishly kind-hearted, and my legitimate elder sister couldn't sway me. Fortunately, we weren't far from Zhao Ling's encampment. She said that once she settled there, she would come back for me. I never did wait for her to come back for me. After my legitimate elder sister left, not a single letter arrived. Later, Ruan started a rebellion, and his call was answered by many. During the clash between the two armies, I saw my legitimate elder sister again. She was dancing on the city tower, her fair waist exposed, her eyes filled with lifeless despair. I remember, it was the very day she came of age. Ruan was determined to install the beautiful Lady Chun as empress and her son as crown prince. It was Mr. Zhang who advised Ruan, "Your Majesty, Lady Lian has been with you since before your rise. A true partner through adversity. If you make Lady Chun empress, I fear the people will not accept you as their ruler. Otherwise, the empress's throne would never have fallen to me. But even as empress, Ruan did not love me. I was merely a powerless orphan girl. I kowtowed outside the hall until my forehead was bruised and bloody, staining the white jade steps crimson. Yet I could not save my legitimate elder sister, nor even myself. After my legitimate elder sister was killed, I reigned as empress for only 18 days before Lady Chun forced me to drink poison wine. My child, falsely accused by her as a bastard, had his limbs torn off and was hung outside the gates of Chengdu capital. My 10 years of relentless devotion ultimately turned into a bitter joke. After death, only Mr. Zhang burned paper money for me, perhaps lamenting my helpless fate, or sighing at the current state of the world, where truth and falsehood are so entangled that even someone as shrewd as him could not see clearly for a time. My legitimate elder sister somehow deceived Zhao Ling into believing the child in her womb was his, which led him to treat her much more kindly. He even assigned Xiao Ta to attend to her daily needs and care. The former prime minister's family had long since scattered, and no one paid any mind to our identities. To survive, everyone tacitly understood. Auntie Lu handed me 2 freshly steamed meat buns and wordlessly returned to tending the fire. I sharpened blades in the rear tents, one after another. With war imminent, we couldn't let dull blades jeopardize our crucial plans. Zhao Ling still refused a hand over my legitimate elder sister. Their conflict would rage to the death. With or without her involvement, there could only be one emperor. Yet they waged this war in her name, and rumors spread branding her as a calamitous enchantress, the root of all conflict. I watched my legitimate elder sister cautiously, but her expression remained unchanged. She simply tucked my knife into her robe. "Don't be afraid, little sister. I will definitely bring you home. We will have a home again, just like 10 years ago when I sneaked out to catch fish and shrimp." And my legitimate elder sister scolded me while wiping the mud from my forehead. Then she would gently chide me, "You little rascal, if you keep being this mischievous, next time father blames you, I won't speak up for you." Thinking of this, The corners of my lips curved upward, looking at my legitimate elder sister's slightly swollen belly. I thought her child would surely be as adorable and sensible as my child from the previous life. When the time comes, I'll go catch fish for my little nephew. No, I'll also take my little nephew to stroll by the gates of Chengdu capital, letting my deceased child see that he has a lovely little brother. Finally, I'll coax my little nephew into climbing over the wall to sneak out and play, getting all dirty, while my legitimate elder sister chases after us, scolding and laughing as she prepares fresh clothes for us to change into. Zhao Ling refused to let my legitimate elder sister return, while Ji Ruan's army drew closer day by day. At night, a long horn blast sounded, and the clamor of battle outside the city walls was deafening. The drama of two princes vying for the beauty began, and the most innocent beauty was nestled in my arms, complaining to me about how foul Ji Ruan smelled. She wondered how I could have willingly borne his child in my past life. Besides, Ji Ruan was a coarse man, not even good looking. How could I have fallen for him, unable to walk away for the sake of a beggar? Me, in this life, who hasn't done a few foolish things. In my past life, I rushed about, was abandoned, left behind, and nearly died several times. Yet, whenever there was a chance to catch my breath, as Ji Ruan grew stronger bit by bit, I deluded myself into thinking I could still glimpse a flicker of hope in life. But my legitimate elder sister lived in constant torment. Now, when she speaks of her own experiences, it's as if she's recounting a story from a playbook. A few mocking words brushed aside conceal the suffering she could never escape in her past life. The two armies were mismatched in strength. Without a doubt, Zhao Ling was defeated. While fleeing, Zhao Ling glanced at my legitimate elder sister, then swept her into his arms, intending to take her with him. The legitimate elder sister bit down hard on his neck, drawing blood. Zhao Ling froze in shock. Lian Yang, won't you come with me? If Ji Ruan catches up, he won't spare you, nor our child. The legitimate elder sister wept, tears falling like rain, drenched pear blossoms. General, you must go alone. Lian Yang refuses to be your burden. If death is unavoidable, I will end my own life. Someday, you must avenge me. The legitimate elder sister was skilled at manipulating hearts. In his past life, when Zhao Ling held great power, he naturally looked down on her overt advances. But even a hero in decline may be moved by a beauty who shares his hardship. He glanced at the legitimate elder sister, his heart torn with conflict. I tightened my grip on the sleeping draft and, while they were lost in each other's gaze, scattered it before Zhao Ling. Unprepared, he collapsed unconscious. I handed the meticulously sharpened blade to the legitimate elder sister. Avoid the heart and vital areas. Aim for the thigh or 3 inches below the rib. Remember, he must not die. Keeping him alive will serve great purpose in the days to come. Every day, 100 soldiers would openly indulge in revelry, even forcing my legitimate elder sister to lure enemies from the city tower. A gust of wind seemed to sweep through the hall, stirring the grudges of a past life. Tears welled in my sister's eyes as she struck blow after blow, soon leaving Zhao Ling drenched in blood beneath her. This long, held bitterness, spanning a lifetime and years beyond, finally found a moment's respite. I wiped the blood from my legitimate elder sister's brow with a handkerchief, took the knife, and added a few cuts where necessary. My cherished legitimate elder sister, who in the Prime Minister's mansion was but a noble lady immersed in poetry, painting, tea, and music, deserved none of his abuse and humiliation in her past life. None of it was justified. Zhao Ling and I hid together in the cellar behind the army tent, while my legitimate elder sister and Xiao Tao moved crates to conceal us. When Ji Ruan found us, my legitimate elder sister drew a knife across her face, shallow beads of blood tracing down her cheeks. She wept again, tears mingling with blood, enhancing her pitiable beauty. She tousled her hair and, upon seeing Ji Ruan, rushed into his arms. Husband, I waited so long, so very long. You finally came. I clenched my fists, listening to the tender words above, forcing back my sobs. The battlefield was cleared for 3 days before Wan rallied the troops and returned to Chengdu capital. Zhao Ling lay unconscious for 7 days. When he awoke, he found himself in an ox cart. I was driving it, dressed in women's clothing, pulling him along a desolate path. I told him that after Wan charged in, he'd been struck down with a single blow, and I dug him out from a pile of corpses to flee with him, that I was his savior. Zhao Ling didn't believe it at first, but after some thought and no better explanation, he teased for a long while before finally muttering, "My thanks, strategist." He had over a dozen wounds, large and small. I gave him the simplest bandaging, counted the silver in my pouch, and bought him the cheapest herbs. Served him right to suffer a few more days. The realm newly stabilized. Everything in need of renewal. The new emperor heeded Mr. Zhang's counsel, adopting a laissez fair rule to recuperate and rebuild. All praised Wan as a wise ruler. Along the journey, I heard no shortage of praises sung for him. In her past life, Wan was cautious in every step, engaging in a years-long stalemate with Zhao Ling. Now that her legitimate elder sister was captured, Wan burned her boats, unexpectedly ending the separatist rule years ahead of schedule. Turns out, capturing the legitimate elder sister wasn't just about killing Zhao Ling. The spring rain fell softly like dew. I looked up at the fine drizzle, feeling it land in my eyes. Smiling through it, 2 lines of tears mingled with the raindrops as they slid down. Wan changed the nation's name to Lian, symbolizing a long, enduring reign alongside her legitimate elder sister, ruling over a vast empire. Lian Chao. In the end, you still basked in the glory of your legitimate elder sister. In your past life, you were but a wild grass in the field, blown by the wind, battered by the rain, then casually plucked and burned. Where was the chance to name a kingdom after you? I watched Zhao Ling fiddling with the firewood nearby and irritably tossed him a flatbread. The child of the general and the empress will be the future heir of this nation. In a way, General, you still won, just not very honorably. Zhao Ling remained unmoved. My child will call another man father, bear another man's name. What does it matter if I've won? Now, I'm nothing but a complete failure. He was badly injured. The arrogance he had when we first met on. Our conversation was sporadic and disjointed. At night, the rain grew heavier, and the thatched hut I built couldn't withstand the storm. It collapsed. A falling log struck Zhao Ling's leg, already severely wounded. The additional blow turned his face deathly pale. The log was too heavy. I'd needed help from several workers to build the hut originally, and I couldn't lift it alone. Zhao Ling tried to lift it himself, but he lacked the strength. The moment he raised the log, it fell back, deepening his wound. If you want to keep your legs, stop moving and stay put. I scolded him, then rushed out into the rain the next second. The early spring rain was bitterly cold. I knocked on several doors before someone finally answered. When I returned to the thatched hut with help, Zhao Ling's face was as pale as snow. Rainwater washed away the blood pooling beneath him, only for fresh blood to seep from his wounds moments later. A cycle repeating endlessly. What a troublesome man. If he weren't still useful, I'd have skinned him and pulled his tendons long ago to avoid all this hassle. Together with the helping uncle, we lifted the log aside and carried Zhao Ling to a sheltered corner. His legs were crushed beyond recognition, mangled and bloody from being trapped too long. I'm afraid they can't be saved. Young lady, with your husband losing his legs, how will you two manage in the future? He disliked chatted, but to my surprise, Zhao Ling didn't refute it either. How unusual. After the uncle left, I removed my outer robe to bandage Zhao Ling's wounds. He abruptly spoke up. The strategist's name seems to be Jingwan. Then he gripped my hand, looking down at me from his superior position. Once we survive this disaster, I will rise again and surely grant the strategist a rightful status. I stared blankly at Zhao Ling. In an instant, those memories buried deep in my heart resurfaced. Back then, I had just parted from my legitimate elder sister, struggling to carry Ji Ruan on my back, stumbling step by step as I painstakingly brought him into a dilapidated temple, finally finding temporary shelter from the wind and rain. The temple's offerings, incense money, even the gold leaf on the Buddha's statue had been scraped off and stolen by passing refugees. I watched with indignation. How could these people even strip the gold from the Bodhisattva? Heaven will surely punish them. Ji Ruan smiled gently. There will be no punishment. When times get better, devotees will come to regild the Bodhisattva's robes. The gods pay no mind to such trivial matters. He added, "You saved me, young lady. Zirwan has no way to repay you. If one day I achieve greatness, I will surely grant you a grand wedding procession spanning 10 miles, with phoenix crown and embroidered robes." Zirwan was his courtesy name, as elegant as his given name, nothing like the roughness of mountain outlaws. I instinctively shook my head. No, I must wait for my legitimate elder sister to fetch me. She said she would come for me soon. But I never did wait for my legitimate elder sister. I never got to see Ji Ruan in phoenix coronet and embroidered robes. Only an unwilling edict of enfeoffment. A man's promises made when he's down on his luck are the least trustworthy. His sweet words now are merely to coax you into sharing his hardships. He chooses you because you're his only option, not by choice. I refuse to be anyone's backup plan. Whether Lian Chao or Jing Wan, one must be irreplaceable, never an alternative. General, your heart belongs only to Lady Lian. Why waste pretty words on me? I won't abandon you, but if you truly wish to repay me, how about giving me your life? I spoke with utmost seriousness, yet he dismissed it as a jest. The legitimate elder sister was in theft, and the whole nation celebrated. It was Ji Ruan's first joyous event as the new emperor, frugal yet brimming with warmth and festivity. After Zhao Ling's leg injury healed, we returned to Chengdu capital, watching the common folks' lives improve day by day. I teased him, "General, what was the true purpose when you gathered in the northern lands and proclaimed yourselves kings? Through the twists of fate, power corrupts. How many can hold fast to their original intentions?" At first, he simply disapproved of the old emperor's tyranny, but later, he ended up walking the same path. He committed no fewer acts of cruelty against the common people. Counting the days, my little nephew should be born by now. Lately, Chengdu capital has been bustling, with many common folks setting up stalls to run small businesses. Perhaps the recent turmoil was too severe. Even in a prosperous place like Chengdu capital, there are still many beggars on the streets, mingling among the crowds and singing. Fair Lady Ruan, untouched when she entered the enemy camp, returned to secure the lady's seat. Whose child does Fair Lady Ruan's babe truly keep? Zhao Ling's expression darkened. The nursery rhyme was clearly singing about his legitimate elder sister, Ji Ruan, and his own romantic entanglements. Publicly insulting the reigning empress was strange enough, yet no one stepped in to stop it. Someone was trying to stir up trouble. Half a year had passed, and Zhao Ling's injuries had long since healed. He still practiced swordplay daily in the courtyard, but with the realm now stable, even if he harbored ambitions to make a comeback, they had gradually faded. But could he truly stand by and watch the woman he loved and their child be slandered? After all, I once served as a strategist. Zhao Ling frowned, gripping the teacup. Strategist, is there any way to enter the palace? I wish to see Lady Lian. I fear she may face danger alone in the imperial court. The inner palace has always been a place that devours people. These rumors are directly targeting the empress. How could she be unharmed? I replied, "General, your wounds have just healed. Ji Ruan sees you as a thorn in his side. Entering the palace would be like a lamb walking into a tiger's den, merely to see Lady Lian once. It isn't worth it. What he ought to do now is bide his time and conceal his strength. Yet men are fondest of what they cannot obtain. I helped him contact former subordinates who had been subdued by Ji Ruan. After arranging everything, Zhao Ling asked me to disguise him. Jingwan, once we return from this, let us leave Chengdu capital and never come back. The people now live in peace. Perhaps Ji Ruan was right, who said I'd leave with you. I roll my eyes while attaching a fake beard to his face. When the palace gates opened at dawn, we disguised ourselves as a vegetable, delivering father and daughter, and entered the palace together. The palace's blue stone, paved path stretched long and far. In my past life, I walked my entire life without ever reaching its end. Yet now my steps were light and brisk. Perhaps it was because ahead lay someone I longed to see, a future I could glimpse, and the mortal warmth I yearned for. My legitimate elder sister had lived half her planned life. This final step, I must aid her well and not hold her back, lest she scold me again. The empress resided in Jiaofeng Palace, quite a distance from the kitchen. Zhao Ling procured a set of maid's attire for me to change into, while he dressed in eunuch's robes. But his demeanor was nothing like a eunuch's, so he had to hunch his back. A 70% resemblance was enough to fool those in the palace. Inside the palace, much like outside the city, everything was in ruins awaiting renewal. Craftsmen had spent over half a year repairing and patching before it began to resemble a royal court. Zhao Ling paused every few steps to study the map in his hand, fearful of taking a wrong turn. From several meters away, I saw a woman in vibrant red palace robes, her hair styled in a soft falling horse bun, gazing tenderly at the child in her arms. Xiao Tao stood by her side, fanning her with a palm leaf fan to keep her cool. Everything seemed just like yesterday, yet after cycles of twists and turns, all matters in this life had already changed. Ruan held a rattle drum, pretending to startle the legitimate elder sister from behind. Zhao Ling clenched his fists until his knuckles cracked, unwilling to yield. Whether sincere or not, the legitimate elder sister's words and actions had stirred his thoughts. I slipped the secretly hidden knife into his hand. General, your martial skills are peerless. Why not kill the wretched emperor, then unite with those old loyalists to overthrow Ruan, feign capturing the empress to pressure Ruan's veteran ministers? Wouldn't the realm then be within effortless reach? As these words were spoken, the legitimate elder sister pecked Ruan on the lips. Zhao Ling's eyes reddened, losing all restraint and rationality befitting a general. I continued to stoke the flames beside him. Besides, Ruan is lustful and fickle. Once the empress loses her beauty and his favor wanes, who will protect her then? General, only you can safeguard Lianyang. Can you truly rest easy in trusting Lianyang to another? Did you travel all the way back to Shindu capital and enter the palace just to catch a distant glimpse of Lianyang? Your former officials, oppressed by Ruan, are all waiting for your return. If we quietly eliminate Ruan today and throw the palace into chaos, wouldn't that be the perfect moment for your resurgence? Already a fallen man, nursing his disappointments, he couldn't withstand my provocation. The next moment, he inched toward Ruan, blade in hand. Their eyes met, Ruan's filled with shock. Though seasoned in campaigns, Ruan was no match for Zhao Ling, the young general, and soon faltered. He cried out for rescue, but the courtyard stood empty on all sides. Only my legitimate elder sister watched with a gentle smile. Zhao Ling drove his blade through Ruan, killing him on the spot. At the same moment, I pressed my dagger to Zhao Ling's neck. Audacious traitor, you dare assassinate His Majesty. What punishment do you deserve? My legitimate elder sister paled in terror, collapsing to the ground. Guards, protect His Majesty. Help! Mr. Zhang charged in with his men. Zhao Ling tried to resist, but my blade pressed harder, cutting into his skin. With a knife at your throat. General, do you truly believe I cannot harm you in the slightest? Did you think my over a decade in the military camps was for nothing? Before, I only held back out of concern for Xiao Tao and Annie Lu's lives. Now that my loved ones are no longer hostages, I can act without restraint. With someone backing me up, I can be as carefree as I was in the old days, catching fish, scooping shrimp, without a worry in the world. Even Zhao Ling, foolish as he was, could now see that I and my legitimate elder sister were in this together. His expression shifted from shock and doubt to disbelief, ending with nothing but a bitter smile. As he was being taken away, Zhao Ling cast a longing glance at the child in my legitimate elder sister's arms. To this day, he still believes that child is his. I could only laugh, and part of me wanted to say he deserved it. Karma comes full circle. In this lifetime, he willingly fell into the trap laid by me and my legitimate elder sister, and even in his final moment of captivity, he never uttered a single word of betrayal. Mr. Zhang led his personal guards to kneel before my legitimate elder sister. Your humble servant arrived too late to protect you. I begged the Empress to punish me. My legitimate elder sister wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and helped Mr. Zhang to his feet. Please rise. Sir, in the days to come, I and my child will still rely on your guidance. Even though His Majesty has passed, with you overseeing the dynasty, I am at ease. I wiped the blood from the dagger's hilt with a silk cloth and noticed the restrained, almost hidden longing in Mr. Zhang's eyes whenever he glanced at my sister. I suddenly smiled. So that was it. The key to resolving the situation was never Jirwan, nor did the dynasty's transition depend on him. My sister truly is far wiser than I, and my little nephew will surely grow to be the cleverest child in the world. I might even have to beg him to go easy on me when we're catching fish someday. Really, I'm going to be the dimmest one in the family again. A month later, my sister took me to see someone. It was Lady Chen, her limbs severed. She said Lady Chen's life had been kept all this time, waiting for me. By the following year, my little nephew was toddling unsteadily, just barely learning to walk. Legitimate elder sister invited Mr. Zhang to take us all on a spring outing to the countryside. She made me new clothes, a delicate, colored palace dress. After looking me over, she seemed unsatisfied, then took 2 Hetian jade hairpins from her box and pinned them in my hair. Only then did she say, "Lovely." My little nephew clapped his hands beside us, chiming in, "Lovely, lovely." Unaccustomed to the perfumed scent on the silk skirt, I suddenly sneezed. I said very seriously, "Legitimate elder sister, this dress isn't very practical for catching fish. May I change out of it?" Mr. Zhang cleared his throat twice before entering the hall. "Your Highness, the carriage for leaving the palace is ready." He didn't mention that he had brought someone else along. By the grassy pond, I rolled up my wide sleeves and waded into the river to catch fish. My eyes lit up as I lifted one. "Legitimate elder sister, a carp. We can have it for lunch." Only my little nephew clapped from the side. Mr. Zhang and legitimate elder sister walked off together into the distance. He tied Zhao Ling to a wooden frame far away and played dart, throwing with legitimate elder sister. Zhao Ling had his tongue cut out and his limbs severed. He whimpered and groaned, soon letting out muffled moans. The legitimate elder sister happily hugged Mr. Zhang. I won.